For nearly a century, the global marketplace has operated on a flattering assumption that we are rational creatures. We like to think that when we walk down an aisle, we weigh the cost, analyze a label, and make a calculated choice. This is why brands rely so heavily on focus groups. If you ask shoppers why they bought a specific soda, they will give you logical reasons, like a preference for the flavor or the value of the price point. But neuroimaging tells a different story. In most retail environments, 95% of human decision-making occurs entirely within the subconscious mind. Consumers aren't being dishonest when they explain their choices in a survey. They simply don't have access to the data running their own brains, which means traditional marketing often spends billions talking to a part of our cognition that isn't actually in control. Classical economics relies on the idea of the human as a slow, deliberate thinker, what psychologists call System 2. In reality, we operate through System 1. This circuit is fast and automatic, processing thousands of inputs every second. It doesn't pause to read ingredients. It relies on visual heuristics, shortcuts based on color, shape, and familiarity to decide before the rational mind engages. This biological reality forced a massive industry shift. To see how consumers really think, brands stopped listening to our words and started measuring our biology. Market research has moved from the boardroom to the clinical neuroscience lab. The centerpiece of this new approach is the fMRI machine. By tracking changes in blood oxygen levels, researchers can see which parts of the brain are working in real time, mapping our emotional reactions with millimeter precision. Researchers also use EEG headsets to monitor cognitive load second by second, and sensors on the skin to measure microsweat responses that indicate a spike in emotional arousal. These tools bypass the conscious narrative we tell ourselves. They offer corporations a way to observe the raw, biological mechanics of a choice before the consumer can even rationalize it. This clinical approach provided the answer to one of the oldest rivalries in retail, the choice between Coke and Pepsi. In a blind taste test, the brain processes both drinks in a similar way. Without the labels, preference is driven by the sensory data of the flavor hitting the taste buds. The biological twist occurs when participants are told the brand name before they take a sip. The brain's physical reaction changes. This scan shows the brand reveal triggers the hippocampus and ventromedial prefrontal cortex, memory and reward zones. These signals override sensory data from taste centers, revealing brand memory becomes more relevant to the brain than actual flavor. Effective branding rewrites the physical perception of the product, making the logo more influential than the liquid itself. We can see the depths of this subconscious override in a study on graphic medical warning labels on tobacco products. When participants were asked about these images, they consciously claimed the horrific photos successfully deterred their craving and made them want to quit. But fMRI data revealed a contradiction. Looking at the labels actually triggered the nucleus accumbens. This is the brain's primary craving center. The labels acted as highly effective cues to smoke, even as the conscious mind insisted it was deterred. These results suggest that our conscious statements are often just a logic we construct after our subcortical circuitry has already decided how to act. This disconnect highlights a specific, measurable gap in time between a biological impulse and our conscious awareness of it. Neuroscience shows that the brain initiates a choice hundreds of milliseconds before the person actually realizes they have made a decision. Brands design packaging, colors, and shapes to target this pre-conscious window. They are aiming for the choice that happens before the rational mind can even weigh in. Because the conscious mind lags behind the neural machinery of impulse, its role in a retail environment is frequently reduced to providing a logic for decisions that were already set in motion. This raises a difficult question. Is this biological targeting a form of manipulation, or is it a necessary modern utility? To function in the modern world, we deal with decision fatigue. Our prefrontal cortex is easily overwhelmed by the thousands of choices presented by digital platforms and retail aisles. Strong branding acts as a cognitive shortcut. It saves the brain energy by allowing it to rely on familiar, emotional triggers, rather than exhausting itself with a constant analytical evaluation of every single item. We cannot change our biology. As technologies for reading our biometrics improve, the triggers used to guide our choices will only become more precise. Acknowledging that our sense of choice is often a constructed narrative is the first step towards reclaiming it. By noticing the triggers, we can pause, engage our rational minds, and decide for ourselves.